Hi guys, welcome to Geek Coding Academy. Today we'll see what is encapsulation. Let's share my screen. So guys, we are currently um, going on through the series object-oriented programming. We are under this second chapter in object-oriented programming. So in our previous video, we discussed on what is classes and objects, what are constructors, what I mean by methods and method overloading. If you have not watched the video, please watch that video in our channel prior to this. Now we'll see what I mean by an encapsulation. So guys, like encapsulation is one of the fundamental principles in OOPS concept, that is object-oriented programming concept. Encapsulating, as the name suggests, we need to encapsulate both data and the behavior. Here, data is the variable and behavior is a method. Both variables and methods present inside a class, we need to make it into encapsulated. That means we need to bundle the data, both data and variables. Okay, both variables and functions. Why we need to bundle it into in a single unity? Because in our program we have some of the sensitive data that can't be accessed everywhere. So we need to give a controlled access. Okay, for that reason we need to bundle it into in a single entity such that we have a full control over whom should access or whom should not access. So we can give a controlled access. So these encapsulations support these, okay, through a concept called access modifiers. So through access modifiers, we can able to give a controlled access to our data, our variables. So you understand the concept, right? Like encapsulation is nothing but we just need to encapsulate or we need to bundle all our class components, that is variables and methods, into a single unit such that we have a fully controlled on how to give access to other entities. For example, if you want to create an application, banking application where balance is very sensitive data, we should not give balance access to every component, only a few component like a history, transaction history or balance summary. Only these component has to access the balance. So that was the reason this encapsulation is most important and most fundamental principle of OOPS concept. So we have to give the um, controlled access, right? Like from whom we need to give a controlled access. There is a concept called access modifiers. We'll see what I mean by an access modifiers. So Java provides by default, Java will have a four types of access modifiers. Okay, that will determine the visibility or access of both classes, variables, or methods. What are the four? I'll tell you. Like one is private, default, protected, and public. So we'll see one by one. So private. Suppose I already told, like I created one public class called person. Inside that, I have created one variable called name, which is of type string. And you can see I made it as in a private because the name of a person is very sensitive data for the application which I'm creating. I don't want these to run around for all the components. I want these to be controlledly accessed. So I just make it as in a private. So I made it as in a private. What I mean by private keyword does is it does not allow this variable to be accessed outside of a class. Only inside of a class we can able to access this. But we need to access somehow, right? For some of the at least some of the other classes should access. Some of the related classes should access. For that reason, we could have a getters and setters. There is a concept of getters and setters. Those are normal methods only, but they will be written inside of a class where we declare this private variable like this. So this is a public method where I'm giving get name. I'm returning a name here. So other classes can able to access this private variable through getters. And if you want to set this value, I'm using a setters. So I'm directly not setting up to this variable. I'm just using the help of getters and setters to access this. That means I have a lot of controlled access. I can write a lot of logic here in these methods. While setting a name, these are all should be the criteria. Role should be like this, like whom should access the name. While getting a name, I could have write some logic such that which type of roles can able to see the name of a person in our application. Okay. So the private access is nothing but like it is accessible within the same class, which is used to we use private keyword to restrict the access of this data anywhere apart from this class, and we can provide a control over what modified or what can be accessed. So this data, whom should modify and whom should access, we have a control. We can able to control using these getters and setters. Okay. We'll see what I mean by default. Like if you not provide anything by default, Java will make it as a default. If you make any variable as a default, see default, we don't have to write anything. Java will think it's a default. If you make any variable as default, it is accessible within the class and also within the same package. Package is nothing but a folder where all our classes we returned. So we have a lot of folders, a lot of packages if you build a complete application. So if you make a variable as a default, it will be accessed within the class and within the package. Okay, this is one level of uh, access. So private is one level of access. This is one more level of access. So let's see what is a protected. So protected is nothing but it will be accessed within the same class, within the same package, and also it can be accessed within the other package, means other folder also, but that class should be a subclass of this class. Subclass, what is a parent class and what is subclass or child class? We'll discuss these in our next coming up video, inheritance concept. Right now we think of like that. The subclass or child class is nothing but it is derived from this class. So if any class derived from this class, which is present in a different folder also, we can able to access if we make that variable as a protected. Okay. This is very useful for inheritance concept where we have a subclass. We need to access some methods or variables of our superclass, that is parent class. This with the help of this protected, we can able to access that. This will support inheritance. That is also one of the pillar of OPS concept. We'll discuss next. And we have a public. His name suggests to make any variable as public. It can be accessible anywhere within the class, within the same package, or within or from different package. It can be accessed anywhere. This is why like when we need to make a public, like that not so sensitive data and it can be accessed anywhere. So we don't have to control. We don't have a much control. We need to control these data that can be accessed everywhere. We can make this as a public. Okay. So let's come back to our encapsulation concept. So we diverted to access modifiers, so like how to give an access. Let's come back to an encapsulation where we are bundling the data and our functionalities. So we have four principles in encapsulation. One is data hiding. We already saw how we can able to hide a data through access modifiers. We can hide a data using a private keyword and we can give controlled access through getters and setters. That is the concepts. Like one is data hiding and second is a controlled access and third is improved maintainability. Suppose like you want to change any logic, just directly we go to getters or setters method and write up the logic. We don't have to change anything for the variable functionality level and it will provide an abstraction. So what is an abstraction? Briefly, I'll tell you because we have a dedicated video for abstraction. That is also one of the major concept of OOPS. So abstraction means we don't have to simply expose all our logic unnecessarily. Suppose like you take an example of a car. In order to we are developing in a program called to drive a car. So drive a car doesn't need to know the complete functionality of an engine. So engine will provide basic abstraction like basic interfaces like steering, brake, and everything component. By using that, we can able to build a driving functionality. So like that, we don't have to expose the complete logic. We can hold the integrity. Okay, we'll talk more about that in our future videos. So data hiding, as I told, we can use a private fields and providing in a public methods like getters and setters, so that that variable is not directly accessed, indirectly we are accessing. So because of that, we have a very controlled over the access. Like we can create a one more logic, like which role or whom should access that and everything. These protect the integrity of data and ensuring the invalid unauthorized access. Okay. Suppose like if you are creating a banking application where account balance is most sensitive data, we should not give the access to every component. Only some of the component need access, right? So through getters and setters, we will provide an access to that. And we are giving in a control access. Here I'm just creating an account, a class, creating a variable called balance, which is of type double because balance may have in a floating by numbers. And I'll make it as in a private. Why? Because balance is very sensitive data. To get balance or to deposit only through these getters and setters methods. Okay. In deposit, I have a logic. I've written logic here. See, if amount is greater than zero because we need to deposit only positive amount. Then only I'm just depositing. So this is the reason. The encapsulation allows controlled access to class data by controlling how data is modified. Okay. So this is a controlled access and improved maintainability. As already told, if changing any internal implementation or logic, we can directly go to our setters and get a class and we can change it instead of altering the main logic. And also abstraction is just we don't have to give unnecessary internal details of an object. For instance, you don't need to know a car engine, how car engine works to drive a car, right? You can only interact with the interfaces. Car engine will give us some interfaces like steering wheel, pedals need to be fitted up here or there. If you use that, you can write in a logic. So you don't have to unnecessarily expose the internal logic because unnecessarily exposing will always be uh, risky. So totally, in summary, if I want to tell, encapsulation helps improve code readability, security, maintainability. By using encapsulation, appropriate access modifiers if used, and keep the data private while exposing only the necessary behavior through getters and setters. Encapsulation keep classes modular and easy to manage. Okay. Let's code. So I have created one more class called encapsulation demo at Java. Here, I created a class called account. Suppose like I'm creating one banking application here, a mini banking application, where I created one class called account. In that, account balance is most vital sensitive data. I just made it as in a private. So in order to access balance, you should only access through getters and setters. Okay. So, but if you want to create an account, the account should have some initial balance. Or just if you want to go up and create a bank account, you should have some deposit or minimum balance should be there. For that reason, I use these constructor classes. What is constructor and everything we discussed in our previous video. You guys can go and watch in my channel. Like in constructor, what is the initial balance I need to put to open an account? It will be there. Like if initial balance is greater than or equal to that of zero, means positive number, that initial balance will reflect in our balance, our account balance. Else, the initial balance can't be negative. This is one error condition we added here. This is a constructor, parameterized constructor. Through this, we can initialize an object. I created one class called account. When a user try to create an account, he has to, this will be called the constructor. He has to put some initial balance. That balance will be go up and set in his balance. So if you want to, suppose the user will try to get his balance through transaction summary or through balance info. This method will be invoked, this getter method, where this will be accessed this balance because private fields can be accessed inside a class, not outside of class or outside of package. Only through getters we can able to access. Suppose if a user want to deposit a money, first we'll check if amount is greater than of zero. If it's zero, we can add to balance. If it's not, we'll display in a message like invalid deposit amount, like you are trying to deposit an amount which is negative. So if a user want to withdraw an amount, we can first check if amount is a positive number and the amount should be less than of balance because he can't withdraw something which he don't have. So we'll deduct it from his balance and we'll print what is the withdraw amount and the rest other functionality will take care like he will draw from an ATM. And also this is one of the if case. Else if what we check is if amount is greater than of balance, you want to try to withdraw an amount which is don't have, then we can display is like an insufficient balance. Else if any other cases, we can say it's an invalid withdrawal amount. Okay. Let's come to the main class. Here main class, we'll have a main method. I just created a my account. Some user has created a my account. I created a my account, one object here. While creating an object, for the constructor, I passed the initial balance of 500 rupees has to be deposited. Okay. The initial balance, I'm just printing up here through get balance, and deposit money using a depositor. Like we have one more method deposit. We can see here. So he has deposited 200 extra, right? So then this balance become 700, right? So you want to withdraw 800. How can it be possible? That logic we have written here. So when you try to withdraw the amount which is greater than his balance, then we have to say insufficient balance. So here at this point, you'll get an insufficient balance. It will print an error. And later you tried another try withdrawing in a 300, like lesser amount. So successfully it will be withdrawn and his balance would be visible. So let's run this program and let's see. So as you can see, I have created an account. My initial balance is 500. I deposited 200. Then updated balance will be 700. I try to withdraw 800 rupees, 800. So it says insufficient balance. Then I given another try with a 300. 300 will be deducted from my balance and my balance after withdrawal will be 400. So see guys, like using encapsulation concept or access modifier concept, we can able to control the access how the balance variable will be accessed over the our program. So this is just a basic program. Like in our real-time application, it will be more complex. So we'll see the real-time application. Like at the end of this course of Java tutorial, we'll be, try to build one real-time application. So this is all about encapsulation concept. In our next video, I'll come up with another concept of oops. So till then, keep watching, keep learning. Please subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Bye.